Hi, I'm Rabbi Shoshana Leis.
And I'm Rabbi Ben Newman.
We serve as the rabbis of Congregation Har Shalom in Fort Collins, Colorado. This year, at Pesach, our congregation has decided not to have its usual community seder, but instead to do what is new and is also traditional, which is to match all of our members and anyone else who would like to join us for seders in homes of other members who are hosting seders. So we'll all be interwoven in this way tonight.
So we wanted to send all of you our Passover greetings and a Passover message, especially those of you who are members of our community who are having community seders. We wanted to give you a little extra energy, maybe some teachings that you could use for tonight, for your seder, or for tomorrow if you're having a seder tomorrow. So I wanted to start off with a quick Hasidic teaching about the meaning of the month of Nisan, and also how it relates to Tishrei, which is when Rosh Hashanah happens. This past week we read Parshat Acharei Mot, which is it's a parsha in the middle of Leviticus, and it is mostly about the service of what happens during Yom Kippur, and then it has some sexual prohibitions in it as well. But as it begins saying everything that happens in this parsha happened after the death of Nadav and Avihu, the two sons of Aaron. And it's a very dramatic story. I'm not going to go into that right now. But there's a disagreement in the Talmud brought up by Rabbi Chia bar Abba, who taught that the sons of Aaron actually died on the first of Nisan, which is the month that we're in right now, the month which is also called Chodesh HaAviv, the month of spring. And he says that that's when the death of Nadav and Avihu happened. However, later in this week's Parsha, we see that we have the whole procedure for what the high priest does on Yom Kippur. So the question arises, did this Parsha happen on the 1st of Nisan, or did it happen on the 1st of Tishrei, which is when the Rosh Hashanah is, and also when Yom Kippur occurs. And interestingly, there's also a debate about when the redemption will take place. Some rabbis in the Talmud say that the redemption will take place in the month of Nisan, and some say it will take place in the month of Tishrei. And believe it or not, even though we say every year that the creation of the world happens on Rosh Hashanah, there's a debate whether the creation of the world actually happened in Nisan or happened in Tishrei, which is when Rosh Hashanah is. So Rabbi Eliezer says that this happened, that the creation happened in Tishrei, and Rabbi Yehoshua says it happened in Nisan. How could this even be a question, though? The answer is, I think, very beautifully provided by a Hasidic teaching that says that there are two different kinds of creation that happen in each of these months, and actually creation is continually happening because God, as we've studied together in my Kabbalah sessions on Fridays at 2, God is constantly filling God's light into the world because God is beyond time and beyond space. So there are actually two kinds of creation that are continually happening, one in Nisan and one in Tishrei. The one in Nisan follows the name of the month, which is Chodesh HaAviv. And it says Nisan is actually called Chodesh HaAviv. If you take apart the word Aviv, you have Aleph Bet, and then you have Yud Bet, which spells out, Aleph Bet spells out Av, which means father, and Yud Bet, if taken in Gematria, means 12. So it's actually the father of the 12 months. And the rabbis say that since it follows the alphabetical order, Aleph Bet in Aviv, it's actually a time when God's light, the light of creation, comes directly to us, directly from God, as kind of a miraculous occurrence. And we're constantly being enlivened by this light without us having to do anything at all. We just have to kind of receive this light and enjoy it and kind of be enlivened by it and be transformed by it. And this is really in line with the time of year, which is the springtime, when everything's coming alive again. And we don't really have to do anything special. We just have to put the seeds in the ground and things grow. On the other hand, Tishrei is the Hasidic teaching says is a time when the light of God is actually returned by us to God. It's kind of what's called the Or Choser, the returning light, as opposed to the Or Yashar, which is the direct light from God. And it really does go in line with the time with Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, where we are doing tshuva, we are returning to God, and we are returning God's light back to God. The gifts that we received from the Almighty, the Eternal, from the one who is beyond time and beyond space, we return back up to that God. And we ourselves create our new reality, as opposed to in this month, in the month of Nisan, where we are given the miracle of new reality without really having to do as much work. So I would like to offer the blessing that this month truly is a month of miraculous occurrences for you, and that you really can take part in the transformation of yourself that comes automatically from an Or Yashar, from a direct light from God. And now I'd actually like to share with you a little song, which is from a book of Passover music, which is also available as a CD. This is the music of Passover at B'nai Jeshurun, which is a synagogue in Manhattan. And they have a wonderful band who play a lot of Jewish world music. And actually we're playing a lot of their music this Friday, the 22nd of April, where we will be having our community Pesach celebration together. And we will be meeting, there'll be a Tot Shabbat at 5 o'clock. 5:30. And they will be following that at 6:30. 7, sorry. You see who the organized rabbi is in the family. At 7 o'clock, we will be having this Passover Shabbat, Kabbalat Shabbat service. We'll be playing Jewish world music, Jewish Passover world music, and having wonderful Passover treats. So this is one of the songs that we're going to be playing. This is a song from B'nai Jeshurun in Manhattan, but originally it's a Mizrahi tune, a Asian Jewish tune for the order of the Seder. Kadesh Orchatz Karpas Yachatz Magir Rachza Motzi Matzah Maror Koreh Shulchan Oreh Tzafun Barech Halel Nirtzah Halel Nirtzah.
Thank you, Rabbi Ben. Yasher koach.
Thank you.
I'd like to offer you a few teachings from the Haggadah that we'll be using tonight at our Seder. This Haggadah is available online. It is the Velveteen Rabbis Haggadah for Pesach. You can print it out by Googling Velveteen Rabbi, Rabbi Rachel Barenblatt. I thought I would just share a little bit about each of the symbols of the Seder so that you can perhaps bring them to your own Seder tonight. Some of these sort of little nuggets of teachings or thoughts, reflections, questions, answers, things you can talk about tonight. By the way, the dessert potluck is a potluck, so please bring your delicious Pesach desserts Friday night. I'm going to start off by sharing a teaching from Rabbi Joseph Soloveitchik, who points out in his book the difference between the mitzvah to tell the story of the Exodus from Egypt and the mitzvah to remember the story of the Exodus from Egypt. Zecher Yetziat Mitzrayim, the remembering of the Exodus from Egypt, is a commandment to do at least twice a day when we pray the Shema. And this is simply a zecher, simply